Behold, the 17-inch MacBook Pro. Some call it the holy grail of old MacBooks, and today we're going to give it the upgrade it deserves. Hey everybody, it's Chris from FamilyGeekery, and today we have this 2011 17-inch MacBook Pro. Now I first got to use one of these 17-inch MacBooks way back probably in 2010. We had one at work, and I got to use it, and it was awesome. And I always wanted one of my own, but I definitely couldn't afford them back then. So over the years, as they got older and people started selling them, secondhand, I finally got my hands on one of these a few years ago. 17-inch 2011 MacBook Pro, the last year that they made the 17-inch MacBook Pro. So there's several reasons why this 17-inch model was so popular, and it wasn't just because the size of the screen was 17-inch, it was also the resolution. The resolution on this 17-inch model was 1920 by 1200, which doesn't sound like much in today's standards, but compared to the 13-inch, which was just 1280 by 800, it was a huge change. But they did have a 15-inch model, which was kind of the go-between for a lot of people. But even that one only had a resolution of 1680 by 1050, which doesn't sound like a big difference, but that extra pixel real estate did make a big difference for several industries. Let's say the photo editing, you'd be able to see more of the picture at a single time without having to zoom in and zoom out. Video editing also, and then for something as simple as coding, you can get a lot more lines of code up and down that screen with that 1200 pixel resolution vertical, which is bigger than most, the standard 1080p monitors that we even use today on laptops and on desktops. It's more pixels than that. But like I said, I've had this one for a few years now, and it's been a great laptop. And today, since the prices of a lot of the parts have gone down, we're going to finally put some upgrades in it. I've got 16 gigs of memory, which is the most that you can put into this model. So 16 gigs of DDR3 memory. And then we've got a 1 terabyte SSD drive. And that's going to be the biggest performance boost, is going from the old spinning drive that's in there, the old SATA drive that's in there, to this SSD. I'm going to reformat it and give it a brand new version of macOS, and this thing should be flying. So a while back I did an upgrade on this channel on a 13-inch MacBook Pro that I did for a friend at work, and this is going to be very similar. We're going to open it up. We're just going to do the RAM and the hard drive on this one. We're not going to change out the battery. The battery on this one is still lasting for me, and to be honest, I usually keep it plugged in because this is not exactly your sit on the couch type laptop. This is usually a desk using laptop since it's so big and heavy. But the battery's still working good, so we're going to keep that in there. So let's open this up and put in a new hard drive and some more RAM. So to do this upgrade, all we need is the 00 Phillips head screwdriver, and then we're going to need a T6 bit also for inside. And I've got this Strabetto trusty kit here. It's got a ton of bits inside there, and it's got things like spudgers and suction cups for pulling off screens and stuff. It's kind of like a generic version of the iFixit kit, and I've been very pleased with it. It's very, very cheap. I grabbed it on Amazon. I can throw a link in the description below. So a lot of times when you buy some of these parts, especially the battery, it'll come with little screwdrivers like this. I've used them over the years, but just go ahead and invest in a good one. This one's going to be a lot better. You don't want to strip out these screws. You don't want to damage them. You can buy extra screws on Amazon, but why bother? If you're going to do it right. And by the way, no, I didn't put the silly stickers on it. They came that way. I haven't peeled them off. So let's get this started. I did shut down the computer all the way. Don't just put it to sleep. Make sure you do a full shutdown before you start opening it up. So let's get these screws out. Now, just in case you're following along or rewatching this later, just always remember the 3 longest screws always come from these 3 back right holes there. And you'll figure that out once you put them in, but if you do try to put one of the small ones in, obviously it'll fit. But the 3 long ones do go in those. So let's take the back cover off. Alright, the first thing you want to do inside these MacBooks before you start touching anything is always disconnect this battery. Now sometimes there's a little plastic tab that you can pull up on it, and sometimes there's not. So I'm just going to use a spudger here. I'm just going to come underneath it, just pry it up away from the board, and then you just want to kind of bend it back a little bit so where it's not going to accidentally make contact to the contacts again. So let's go ahead and do the easy part first. We're going to change out this RAM. So you've got the 2 ears here. We're going to pull those ears apart, and the RAM's going to pop up, and we're going to slide it out, and then we're going to pull them apart again, and the bottom one's going to pop out. Sometimes you have to pull them apart twice, and then you can grab that second one. There you go. So now that that's out, grab your new RAM. Make sure you line up the offset contacts here. We're going to start with the lower one. Going to put it in at about a 45-degree angle. Press it in until it's all the way firmly seated, and then press down till those ears lock in on it. And the same one with the top one. Insert it at about a 45-degree angle, all the way in. Press it down to lock. That was easy. So I've placed the old RAM into the container that the new RAM came into. We're just going to set that aside. I never get rid of this old RAM. This is 8 gigs, which I'm never going to put back into this laptop. But sometimes I stumble upon an iMac, one of the older iMacs that either a family friend has, and they've got 4 slots. Some of those old iMacs have 4 slots. You can put these in there and add another 8 gigs to their RAM, and it's going to help out a lot. So I've just rotated the laptop a little bit to make it easier to work on for me. We've got 2 Phillips head screws here holding this little mounting bar down for the laptop hard drive. So let's take those screws out. And if I can, I usually just screw them up enough so that the bar starts popping up, and I leave those in there. That way I know which screws go to them. And we're just going to set that aside. So now we've got the drive ready to pull out. It's got the plastic tab on here that makes it easy to lift out, but lift it out slow and gently because we do have this tiny little ribbon cable here that's attached, and we're going to slightly wiggle this thing off, and that's it. So this little ribbon cable has both the power and the data SATA connections. So we are done with this. We can take off the plastic tab, and then I'm going to take off all 4 of these studs here to mount in the new one. Alright, so instead of boring you with some more fast forward screwing and unscrewing, I went ahead and transferred these 4 little studs here from the old hard drive to the new hard drive. That's what you need the T6 tip for on your screwdriver. So we did that, went ahead and put the plastic little holder on. So we just have to plug in this hard drive cable. And then when I pulled this out, there's 2 little holes on this side that you're going to line up the studs with, and then once you lay it down, you'll be able to mount the little hard drive holder in. Alright, so I mounted this little hard drive bracket back on, back with the Phillips screwdriver again, and the last thing I'm going to do is we're going to plug this battery back in, and then before I put the back plate back on, I'm going to bring it into the other room. I'm going to blow some of the dust out of these fans while it's open and get it nice and clean. Alright, so I got it cleaned up inside. I put the back cover back on. I always leave the screws off and test everything out, get the operating system running on it first, make sure everything works before I put the screws back on, just in case I need to go back in and reseat the RAM. Sometimes if you don't get it all the way in there, you have to reseat it. But if you do get the cover back on and you forget at some point, if you had replaced the cable for the battery, the easiest thing you can do is hit the little battery button here on the side, and if you've got any charge on it, it will show what your charge is. So once you do this, if you're going to leave the screws out of the back, you just want to kind of sandwich it with your hands so it doesn't shift around any, and then lay it down flat and then you're ready to open it up and install your operating system. Now, if you're upgrading your MacBook and you've got files or programs on there that you want saved, you got a couple options on how to do that by upgrading before you upgrade your hard drive. Of course, you can do like a time machine backup on your old hard drive on your old laptop, save that off to a external hard drive, and then come back and just restore that onto the new drive. That's one option, and that'll make your new drive look exactly like your old one. Another option is just simply take a thumb drive, save off the files that you may need, save that thumb drive, upgrade the hard drive, put a new operating system on it, and then copy those files back over. Or you can install the new operating system on the new laptop drive, and then get a little guy like this, which is just a USB 3 to SATA adapter, and you can take your old hard drive, plug it in there, and then this will essentially become an external hard drive. Plug it into your USB drive once you get everything set up on the new one, and as long as you can find your way around the Mac operating system file system, which isn't too hard, then you'll find all your documents and programs on this old drive. Another option is, if you want to save this as a external, just go ahead and buy an external enclosure. You can get one probably for like 10-20 bucks. Put this in there, and then you'll have, in this case, a 750 gigabyte external hard drive that you can use for either a time machine or just for saving off files and backing them up. Now, in this video itself, I'm not going to go ahead and do the full install of the new operating system. I did that on the other 13-inch upgrade that I did, and I'm going to make a separate video just for how to install the Mac operating system on these older style MacBooks. So I'll put a link to the description below when I've got a new video for that, and that'll step you through all the steps to get a brand new operating system running on this brand new SSD. So that is going to wrap it up for this video. If you like this video, or if you learned something from it, please hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. And if you like this type of content and want to find out more about us, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're putting out new videos all the time. And also be sure to check out our Family Geekery Podcast. We put out new episodes every Tuesday, and it has all kinds of geeky stuff from TV shows to video games to comic books, just about anything you can think of that's geeky. So check that out anywhere that you find your favorite podcasts. So thank you as always for watching, and until next time, peace out and geek out.